me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
We always had a saying at the Woodlands, and I carried it through to even my time at Bluejack and Recreation. If the children are happy, the parents are happy, the community is happy. And when the community is happy, the community is strong. Just being able to be a part of like that in such an organization, not only from my time at the Woodlands Methodist Church to the Woodlands Township and now to Bluejack. At the end of the day, you're serving the community. So, and that's at the heart of it, and it's something that I'm very proud of.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show's Leadership Series. Today we're taking you to Bluejack National, the premier golf course community in Texas. Beyond its Tiger Woods-designed golf course, this 767-acre lifestyle community in Montgomery, Texas, is a recreational paradise. Explore 3 fishing lakes, 4 tennis courts, 2 pickleball courts, and even a mini Fenway Park replica for wiffle ball. Their Fort recreation area features swimming pools, a splash pad, and a water slide offering endless family fun. The sanctuary provides a world-class fitness center and Olympic-sized pool and spa services. Bluejack National is dedicated to creating exceptional lifestyle experiences, hosting diverse events from dining to spectacular holiday celebrations. Leading these incredible member experiences is our special guest, Tyler Little, whose extensive background in parks and recreation has been instrumental in shaping Bluejack National's remarkable offerings. Join us as we explore their vision.
Okay, we are live again. Sorry, this is just technical difficulty Monday, but I've got special guests. And when I say special guests, normally it's just another director that's got something cool going on. But Tyler works for Bluejack National, which is a really cool, I guess, I don't even know well, I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and play the show and then you can come describe it yourself before I butcher it. We'll go ahead and do a little promo for the show and then we'll be right back. Hold on.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.
All right, so we're back with Tyler Little. How did your weekend treat you?
Yeah, it was great. Actually celebrated my 35th birthday.
So congratulations.
It was good to be here with my family and just received so much support from like I said, my family and my coworkers. It was a really special weekend, and my son and I are actually headed to Detroit tomorrow. We're going to go catch a few Detroit Tigers baseball games. So we're really excited about that.
Well, shout out to all my LSU baseball fans. I know they're all excited. I live about 2 blocks from LSU. That's where we're airing from.
There you go.
I think everybody took the day off yesterday to watch the Tigers pull that one off. So
I understand.
Y'all are big baseball fans over there?
Oh, yeah. Well, I went to the University of Houston, so we're not going to talk about the national championship game at all in this segment. But So over the last few years, we've become a little bit more basketball fans. But no, it's living in Texas where sports and recreation are so prominent. Anything that we can do, and I have some background, and my wife is from Michigan, so we're pretty big Detroit fans. So we're gonna head up there and see some family and friends, and maybe play some golf too. So we're excited.
Yeah. And so now normally we have people that work for city government in Parks and Rec, maintaining, sports facilities and all that kind of stuff. But, you do some, well, maybe tell us about your background first and how you got to where you are today. And then you can describe what Bluejack National is after that.
Well, Craig, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to you and your team to be able to highlight the young parks and recreation professionals across the country. Sometimes, those voices aren't heard. So the fact that you're taking your time out of your day, and your team has just done an outstanding job recognizing these men and women every single day who they're not parks and recreation professionals. They're servant leaders. They're putting the needs of others for their own. Coming from a parks and recreation background, I wouldn't be talking to you today if it wasn't for my time in the Woodlands. I spent almost 10 years in parks and recreation in the Woodlands, Texas, really under some of the finest leaders, Dr. Chris Nunes, Pamela Woods, Lauren Miller, Keisha Ivory. Those are the people that really kind of influenced me in parks and recreation. And having a golf kind of background and really a golf area of interest, I kind of wanted to branch out. And with Bluejack National being in my backyard, so to speak, being in Montgomery County, and that's where I grew up here in Texas, I wanted to be a part of it. And then when the Mitchell family, who own Bluejack National, when they bring in someone like the name Tiger Woods to come and design the golf course.
Before you go into that, what was it like being 10 years under the legend? Shoot, what was his name? You just mentioned it. It flew out of my head.
Dr. Chris Nunes. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's probably the most traveled Parks and Rec instructor on earth. And so you were under him for 10 years over at the Woodlands?
I was in the Woodlands about 8 years, and then 2 years with another company. But what could I say about Chris? The fact that I was able to join his team meant so much to me. I feel that he can go out and he can handpick the finest parks and recreation professionals across the country. So the fact that he and the assistant director of recreation now, Pamela Woods, selected me, it was an honor. And I learned so much under the Parks and Recreation team at the Woodlands, and that's why I think Parks and Recreation is so great, because it really gives the foundation of business, of public policy, of capital projects, and then most importantly, dealing with the people. So being able to work closely with my friends, to be quite honest with you, and then the community of the Woodlands, it meant so much to me, and again, it's the reason why I'm sitting here today.
Yeah. And the Woodlands operates, I would say, very uniquely, because they third party a lot. I mean, some people third party a little, some like to do it all in house. He's on the total opposite. Like third parties as much as possible. Maybe describe that a little for those that haven't experienced that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very unique setup, because if you think of the parks and recreation opportunities across the country, a lot of those programs are going to be run in-house. Which a lot of our programs are, specifically with our special events team and our summer camps. We put a lot of emphasis into those, because those are the first-hand interactions with the community. Now, what we would really like to do is we wanted to then go out into the community and branch out and see who can we bring as an instructors that are unique, that are different, that are diverse, and then be able to offer that to not only the Woodlands, but Montgomery County, Harris County. And that was always unique, because we were always getting applications for new programs, whether it be for Spanish classes, dance classes, softball leagues, you name it, we had it. And that was something that always intrigued me, because it was always fresh coming into the Woodlands.
Fantastic. Okay. So then 10 years in that. Now, what was your primary role there? Was it
so I was started off as the director of sports for the Woodlands Methodist Church. It's about a 15,000 member church. So I think that's where my experience is a little different here. I've seen it from kind of the church recreation side, and then we kind of moved over to the parks and recreation setting in the Woodlands, where I was a summer camp director. I was the parks and recreation coordinator. I was the athletic supervisor. So, having kind of seen all of those kind of areas and how they intertwine, and being able to work with our HR team and our turf management team and our facilities team, you name it. Again, it was a foundation and something that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life.
Now, were you ever active in NRPA or traps? I know you'll have an
Yeah,
unbelievable state
absolutely.
association.
Everything from our SMS sports management school, shout out to TAPS,
Mhm.
all the way, Dr. Michael Ann Lord leading those sessions of how to be a better team player and things like that. And then moving on to traps. I worked a lot, volunteered a lot with the golf tournament, the Traps East Region Golf Tournament, the Traps East Region Awards Chair. Being able to recognize all of the hardworking men and women in the East Region meant so much to me. And then obviously NRPA, getting my CPRP certification. It's something that I still put on my email signature to this day, even though I'm not necessarily in recreation anymore, because again, that certification to me meant so much. In the job that the NRPA does in educating just across the country and really putting an emphasis on these recreation programs. It's so special. It's so special.
Now, do you still attend traps, or are you kind of disconnected from them now that you're kind of in your new gig?
I definitely try to keep up with my CEUs when I can.
Yeah.
Obviously with the new direction, kind of it's more of a hospitality focus.
Mhm.
Like I said, I still try to catch up on a lot of the online meetings and I try to go to some of the meetings when I can, but not as much as when I was with
Yeah.
the Woodlands for sure.
All right, so tell us a little bit about, let's kind of do the introduction as to what's the elevator pitch for Bluejack National, and then we'll do a deep dive after that.
Bluejack National is absolutely fantastic. That's my elevator pitch. The number one golf course community in the state of Texas for the last 8 years.
Wow.
When we have our owners, Kristen and Andy Mitchell, the resources they've put in, not only just in the golf course, but in the recreation setting and the restaurant setting and the kind of our sanctuary, new sanctuary, which is a fitness area, Olympic-sized swimming pool, spa treatments, you name it. This is a lifestyle community that sits on 767 acres. And then, like we mentioned earlier, when Tiger Woods wants to come in and design the golf course, and for that to be able to be in a county where I grew up, I take a lot of pride in being here. And then our president and general manager, Brett Schoenfield, this man is an absolute fantastic leader. It's someone who you would go to battle for each and every day. He's the purest definition of a servant leader that you can find. He's not going to ask you to do anything that you wouldn't do of yourself. And being able to work alongside him, it just means so much to me. Having him come from some very upscale resorts across the country, from Las Vegas to Vail to Maui, and then to call Bluejack home. It's very special, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So I started out as the director of recreation at Bluejack. Obviously, coming from the recreation setting, I was there for about 1.5 years and was just recently promoted to the director of member experiences.
Now,
So
how did they find you? Did they just needed someone with a Parks and Rec background to kind of manage the facilities, or?
Well, like I said, coming from, I love golf and I love, everything about this being built in this community. I reached out to them at first. At the time, it just probably wasn't the right fit. My daughter decided to come into the world. So, but then, when Brett Schoenfield called me again and asked, "Hey, I want you to lead this team," that's not a man that I want to turn down twice. And like I said, he's a fantastic leader, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that I not only have the trust of him, our owners, Kristen and Andy Mitchell, and then our wonderful membership each and every day.
Now, where are y'all located, for those of you that aren't familiar with it?
Yeah, so we're located in Montgomery, Texas. We are about 45 minutes north of Houston. So we're located in Montgomery County. A lot of people think in Montgomery County, you obviously have Conroe and the Woodlands. We're a little bit west. We're probably I'd say we're about 45, 50 minutes from College Station. So we're kind of right in the middle of College Station and Houston. So anybody looking, for roles at the University of Houston or Texas A&M, you know where to find us. We're right there. So
fantastic. And so, all right, so let's talk about some of the more details of what y'all offer, the type of people that kind of join Bluejack National, what's the general structure of it?
One of the things that I love about Bluejack National, and a little bit different than from country clubs, you will find no committees on this property. This comes from our ownership, who has set a strategic vision of this is going to be a lifestyle community. We don't want it to be just golf, but we want people to come into our property, and we want you to forget about everything outside of the greeters barn. When you come into the property, we want your kid to feel safe to ride a bike, go swimming, go fishing. Mom and dad can go eat at our world-class restaurants. Mom and dad can go to the sanctuary, work out, swim, have facial treatments, spa treatments, hair appointments. And one of the things that I love about Bluejack specifically, and in terms of our amenities, is the answer is always yes. Now, what's the question?
Mm.
And that's something that really just sticks out to me. And being able to now in the role of director of member experiences, everything that our members can experience comes through our office, whether it's from valet, lodging, transportation, you name it, we're going to take care of you. And that's something, again, as I mentioned earlier, being the number one golf course in the state of Texas for the last 8 years, our goal is to be the number one golf course community in the state of Texas for 9 years and 10 years and 11 years. We want to be better than we were each day. And that's something that drives us. We're very big on culture. We're very big on the mission statement. And the mission is simple. It's to create exceptional lifestyle experiences, one family, one member, one guest. And just recently, we added one employee at a time.
Fantastic. So how do you get that award, and maybe what are the criteria for how do they award it, and what do they look at? And, how would you lose it? And how would you get it? What are the standout
Well,
features?
yeah, obviously being in Texas, surrounded by so many other great clubs and communities, it's a constant challenge. But that's why our president has, made the directive very clear. We want to be better than we were each and every day. It's just that simple. We want people to come in and, like I said, we want you to relax. And we want everyone from your members to your guests to the Golf Week raters. This is from Golf Week magazine who offers this, to be able to know when they come through those gates at Bluejack, they know what they're going to expect. And we continue to live by that mission each and every day. So obviously, with the new clubs and, even for us, Bluejack National, it's expanding. So Bluejack National will have Bluejack Ranch and Aledo. So if you're in the Fort Worth area, Jonathan Ireland is going to be the president, general manager of that property. So being able to, Bluejack is not just a course. It's not just a community. It's a brand. And that's something that we really try to push each and every day. So.
Yeah. And so, now that other one, that's gonna be like run by the same people pretty much in Dallas, Fort Worth?
Yep. So basically, we're asking everybody come to Bluejack National to learn the culture.
Mm.
And then, think of it as I've heard the phrases, we're kind of like fine tuning a race car. They're coming down here, they're going to learn the culture, they're going to learn our vision and learn our mission and vision. And then we're going to send them off to Aledo and be highly successful. So we're hoping to get on the turf, play some golf maybe next summer. There's a lot of contingencies in that, but we're excited about that as well. So
Yeah. And so how long have y'all been in operation, start to finish?
yeah, so kind of a soft opening was 2014. Really, we got kind of gears, everything rolling 2015. But yeah, we're going strong, and each year we're adding something different. So even last year we just added was what we call the porch. It's our brand new clubhouse. And one of the interesting things about the clubhouse is we've already been featured in several different magazines. Is when you come into that clubhouse, we don't want you to feel like it's a different country clubhouse. We want you to feel like you're at home with the artwork, the comfort, the different things that we offer, the different meeting rooms that we offer. It's not just a restaurant and a bar. It's so many different things. And then, so being able to offer that and then offer the sanctuary in 2023, a brand new fitness center, we continue to grow and continue to offer to new things, which we're excited about.
I'm trying to pull up y'all's website. I'm thinking maybe you could kind of give us are you familiar enough with the website?
Yeah, bluejacknational.com. It's not in front of me, but
I'm pulling it up
basically,
right now. Hold on.
yeah,
Let's see. Present. I'm still working this technology here.
no,
Share
go.
screen. There we go. Okay. So you want to help me navigate?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're seeing is our brand new clubhouse, what we call the porch. Just an absolute fantastic building. There you're kind of seeing the fort, which is what I had the privilege of running. That's kind of our recreation setting.
Mm-hmm.
So at the fort specifically, you have 3 different fishing lakes. It's kind of like almost kind of think of it like a Dave and Buster's. We have a diner aspect. We have a 2-lane bowling alley, 2 different swimming pools, splash pad, water slide. That's our sanctuary, as you can see.
Yeah.
So when you said, when you come into this property, we want to have something a little bit for everybody. It's not just golf. It's not just fitness. It's not just recreation. It's Bluejack. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on.
And so there's obviously surrounded by homes and stuff that, obviously you would, is that separate? Is that part of the property or just connected to it, or how does that
No,
go?
absolutely. So, we have as private estate homes, but then we also have 4 or 5 other different types of homes, kind of depending on what your family needs. So it doesn't matter if you're a family of 10 or a family of 2, we've got something covered for you. And
Mm,
then if you're from Houston, or if you're from Dallas, or if you're from New Orleans, or if you're from Seattle, we have different lodging units that you can come and stay and play and really enjoy your time. So again, it just kind of goes back to everything that we offer, and we continue to grow and build every single day.
Now, tell me more about I know in Parks and Rec, they run a lot of special events. Some cities run like 10 or 15, 20 a year. Some of our bigger ones might run, 200 a year if it's like a New Orleans style city. But tell me more about the special events that y'all run each year on y'all's facilities.
I can't say enough good things about our special events team. And one of the things that I really love about Bluejack is each team almost has to have kind of an entrepreneurial spirit.
Mm,
So our events team will go and they'll work with the director of recreation. They'll work with the director of wellness. They will work with the director of food and beverage. We have events basically almost every single day. And one of the things that we've got coming up July 4th is red, white, and Bluejack. So it doesn't matter if you're a 2-year-old or 75 or 80. We want you to come. We want you to enjoy yourself. We've got fireworks going on and literally events every single second of the day to make sure that your time is filled. You get to enjoy your time with the family over the July 4th holiday. And guess what? We got some golf for you too.
mm,
So one of the things that really kind of separates Bluejack too is you have your 18-hole championship golf course. But if you think about it, we actually have 28 different holes of golf on our property. We actually have a 10-hole lighted par 3 kind of family course, which we call the playgrounds.
mhm.
And again, I've even taken my own son out there. It's just a special place to, like I said, to relax, to unwind. And when you come through those gates, it hits different. It's like I said,
Mhm.
and the only way that we can describe it, it's Bluejack.
And
We
you can
don't
play at night, you said? That's a nighttime course, or?
Yeah, so during the playgrounds, it's a lighted par 3 course. So we usually kind of cut those lights off about 11:30 or midnight. But again, if a member's going and whether they have family or business guests, whatever, we want you to enjoy that, and that's something that we offer too.
Yeah. And so, maybe is there any specific, maybe what's y'all's largest special event or a few that you could maybe touch on?
So we really, like I said, we have different events almost every single day. For again, a variety of people. We just had ladies' night. We had men's night. We had a Betsy Ross impersonator come for Flag Day.
Mm,
But like I said, Easter, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day. Those are our events that just I use the word wow. Coming
yeah.
from a Parks and Recreation setting, we're in the Woodlands where we would have fireworks going off at 4, 5, 6 different parks. Even though it's a little bit more centrally located here at Bluejack, the experience that
Yeah.
we are able to provide and our team is able to provide, it never fails. And that's just something that it goes to the testament of our team. And I'm so lucky to be a part of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, red, white, and Bluejack is obviously one of probably, I'd say that and Memorial Day are our largest events. But then, also got to give a shout out to Halloween where we have Bluejack. So, it's just the different things that we offer and really try to offer to our members. That just is unique every single day.
Now, tell me more about, the like, who created this vision, or was it the founders, or where did they get were they inspired by another, facility similar to this, or, give me about the beginnings of it, where it came from.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about our owners, Kristen and Andy Mitchell. They founded Lantern Asset Management. They're based out of Fort Worth. Big TCU grads.
Mhm.
It's just their vision to be able to create this and kind of the history of Bluejack. Before Bluejack was ever created on the land, it actually set a public golf course. And I can remember playing high school golf on this public golf course. So to be able to come in and reshape this and to bring in a name like Tiger Woods and Bo Welling in the golf course world, it's so special and so new, so unique. And like I said earlier, they set the precedent, and we realized that was kind of one of the things that I've always appreciated about them is and really our members in general is they can recreate anywhere in the world,
Mhm.
but they come because they love Bluejack, and they
Mhm.
come because of the services and the hospitality and the experiences that we offer them. And it's something that, again, that just drives our team. But again, it's ever changing, right? It's kind of almost reminds me, I think it was Walt Disney that said Disney World will never stop growing, or, it'll never stop being imagined. But it's, Bluejack's very much like that. Our membership continues to change, and with Bluejack Ranch coming into Aledo, we're, like I said, Bluejack is not just a golf course in Montgomery, Texas. It's a brand, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on. And it's an honor every single day. Our logo is an acorn from a Bluejack tree, and it's an honor to wear that acorn every single day.
Yeah, I love how you referred to Disney World, thinking that they'll never stop being imagined. And so, what do y'all have kind of in the future, on the horizon, as far as things y'all'd like to add or do, or kind of what's in the works, if you can speak on it?
Yeah, I just think, I think about, even since I've been at Bluejack, the building of our sanctuary, a world-class fitness center, the building of the porch, it's a world-class clubhouse. Like I said, it's totally reimagined. It's something that, like I said, you go into another country club clubhouse, you're probably expecting something, similar of what you would see at other, country clubs across the country. You don't see that at Bluejack. It's different. It's unique. And that's the way we kind of describe it. Bluejack has become a verb, noun, whatever you want to think of it as. But I'd say the next big vision is Bluejack Ranch. It's going to sit on over 900 acres outside of Aledo, Texas. It's having been to the property several times, it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be kind of the same type of design as Bluejack National, but it's going to have that kind of that Fort Worth vibe. So that's something that we're really excited to see. And having worked with some of the team members already from Bluejack Ranch, having come down and learned the culture at Bluejack National, I think it's going to be very successful.
Now, for those not really familiar with golf, how big of a deal was it to have someone come in with, like Tiger Woods, to design your course? Or how did y'all land that one, and why was it important to have someone like him come and design what y'all have?
Well, I would probably reiterate, when you have the opportunity to, at the time, to have the number one golfer, not just currently, but of all time, obviously, I know that's debatable, but whenever you're able to put a name like that on Bluejack National, how special is that? We are the number one golf course in America that Tiger Woods designed. We take a lot of pride in that. So to be able to obviously have his name there, but then also realize that, Bluejack has to hold its own. And, we want to make sure that that his legacy continues to grow from Bluejack. The Mitchell family's legacy continues to grow from Bluejack, and our staff each and every day, the opportunities that I've been able to see. And, and I'd be remorse if I didn't mention every single team member, that I get the pleasure to work with, from our valet team to our recreation team, to our food and beverage team, to our events team, to our maintenance team. We have over about 300 employees that go into making Bluejack what it is each and every day. So it's an honor and privilege to work with them. But I think it all goes back to our mission, Craig. And I've heard our president say, and he and I both have some Michigan roots, but it's when Henry Ford, as he was getting older, running Ford Motor Company, and he was starting to maybe not understand the variances of the company, he had all these different buttons on his desk. And at any given time, he could press a button and it would call a team member and he would know the answer. That's what we're committed to at Bluejack. We want to know everything about it. We want to know everything about our members and guests. And we want to create a memorable experience that you're going to remember today, tomorrow, and quite honestly, forever.
So with over 300 staff members, maybe tell me, what are the different departments? What do they do? What's it like to work over there?
Well, you can't run a golf course without the agronomy team. And Eric Bauer, I can't say enough good things. He's our director of agronomy. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He's the best in the world. I've seen how this man works. He is so impressive. And, quite honestly, one of the things that I appreciate about him is his leadership. Obviously it's, to maintain a golf course and get it ready for tournaments. Yeah, that's hard. But the way he's also been able to develop leaders within his own organization. That's, I think, why we've been so successful. So you've got the agronomy team, you have the recreation team, which I had the privilege of running for almost 2 years. And like I said, you've got 3 fishing lakes, 4 tennis courts, 2 pickleball courts, a mini Fenway Park replica wiffle ball field, I'm gonna go on record. I'd like to consider myself the home run derby champion, but I'm sure others may debate that. To be able to offer, even having 50 bicycles on property, it's just to be able to offer that. Just when we come to Bluejack, we don't want you in a car. We want you to walk. We want you to be on a golf cart. We want you on a bike. How special is that to know that, hey, I can let my kids run free, and I know that they're going to be safe, and I know that they're going to be taken care of, and I know that they're going to be loved by the staff. It's one of the things that I love so much about being in the recreation department. Our food and beverage team, we have 3, 4, 5 different outlets that we constantly serve food out of, every from where you've got chicken tenders to fine dining. And like I said earlier, it's the answer is always yes at Bluejack. Now, what's the question? And it's an absolute privilege to be able to work with the leaders. A lot of them come from the hospitality background, because that's, Bluejack, like I said, it's not just a golf course. It's a lifestyle community / resort, and that's the way we want it run. And I think the kind of the foundation of resort life is hospitality and servant leadership, and which I just commend our staff, because they come in every single day, and again they have that servant leader mindset, and I'm honored to be right there with them.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to take a little commercial break to run a new commercial that we made for our Thursday show. This is a show focused on youth sports, by our host, Aaron Locks. And then I also right after that, I want to play something for our Young Professionals Network. And then I'd like to talk with you a little bit, Tyler, as far as maybe what message you might have. You can be thinking about that for young professionals getting into this industry, and especially focused on all the different opportunities that you'll find in Parks and Rec that might not, like your job, be directly related to Parks and Rec, but you found this through Parks and Rec. So let's go ahead and play these two, and then we'll be right back.
At DPRS Media Co., we don't just create content, we elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
All right, so before I play the next one, is there anything do y'all have anything for youth, as far as, I'm assuming you have something for youth golf? You must.
Yeah, absolutely. What don't we have for youth? And that was one of the things that I was most proud of, really in my time in recreation. And I have to give a shout out to my recreation manager, who I work side by side with. Her name's Coco Ramgeet. She came from the hospitality industry, kind of worked in food and beverage, and everything. Really, she and I were able to work well together, because we focused on families, which I think Parks and Recreation, again, has that emphasis on. So whether that was fishing camp, tennis camp, jack camp, every summer, every spring break, every Christmas, cooking classes, I can't even begin to think of all the things that we did. We obviously had our mother-son date night and our daddy-daughter dinner dance and our 16,000 Easter egg hunt. So again, that's honestly, that was always the goal of the fort, is we wanted to be the central hub of family engagement across the entire property. And I think a lot of that is built on trust, and it's built on integrity, that we know when parents dropped off their kids, whether it be for jack camp or an archery lesson or a fishing lesson, that our staff was going to take care of them, our staff was going to love them, and they were going to provide a memorable experience. So yeah, seeing the youth mastery, kind of advertisement there, it definitely brought back a lot of emotions, right, from Parks and Recreation, because that ultimately that's what we do. It's to build up the next generation. I think of our summer camp at the Woodlands, and having 200, 300, 400 plus kids every single day between both of our recreation centers, and still having some of the parents reach out to me. That means more than you know. So
Yeah.
it's that's why we do it. My grandfather always said, work is not spelled FUN, but
Mhm.
Parks and Recreation is pretty close.
That's right.
And what better way to be able to offer that to the community and being right there, step by step. So something that I'll always hold near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the work they do is kind of lost on always seeking a championship or trying to get a college scholarship for your kid, but 99.99, however many zeros past that 1% is will ever get a college scholarship. But there's so many valuable lessons that are taught in youth sports,
Yeah.
to our future engineers and doctors and lawyers that'll never get an athletic scholarship, but
Yeah.
at the same time, they can learn life lessons for a decade or longer in just little leagues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's such an important thing to support for even our non-athletic people. Not everybody's, born 7 foot tall or going to be the next sprinter for the Olympics, but lots of great, powerful lessons that are taught to our kids through youth sports.
We always had a saying at the Woodlands, and I carried it through to even my time at Bluejack and recreation. If the children are happy, the parents are happy. If the
Mhm.
parents are happy, the community is happy. And when the community is happy, the community is strong.
Mhm.
So that's what we always kind of focus on. And again, just being able to be a part of like that in such an organization, not only from my time at the Woodlands Methodist Church to the Woodlands Township and now to Bluejack. Parks and Recreation will be at the center of what I do every single day, because at the end of the day, you're serving the community. So,
Yeah.
and that's at the heart of it, and it's something that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, we had, I think, Gregory Coleman was, it's considered by many one of the best coaches in America. And we asked him on the show, or it might have been Greg. Shoot, who was it? Was it Jim Perry? We've had so many great guests on the show, but one of them was like a highly decorated coach. And we asked him live on the show, how do you measure if you're a coach, if you're doing a good job? And his response was, if over half your team was on the team last year because they just had a great time and a good experience and they didn't feel burnt out, you're doing a good job. If it's all new kids, something ain't right.
Yep.
You got to fix it.
Well, I believe leaders and coaches are very similar. To be a successful coach, to be a successful leader, you have to decrease emotional stress.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, I think, compassion always comes in. And then also, how about effective listening, right? I know sometimes I'm listening and things of that nature, but really taking the time to understand someone. And then, once you understand someone, you can show compassion to them. Once you show compassion to them, they can learn, they can grow, they can succeed. And then, I know for me is, having some of my youngest interns when I was at the church and having them, getting married, and some of them are working for Goldman Sachs and, all these different financial institutions in New York. I was like, man, I'm happy to be part of their journey.
Right.
And it started that way. So, that's what it's all about. And, being able to be on their stairway to success. That's why I do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I coached track and field, kind of volunteer for one of the greatest track and field high school teams in America at Catholic High in Baton Rouge,
Okay.
under Coach Pete Boudreau, one of the most decorated coaches. And I still have grown men coming up to me saying, "Hey, coach," and it looks like they're about, 15 again. Coaches play such a pivotal role in kids' lives in their early development. And I know, having them walk up to me decades later, still remembering, the experience they had on our teams, it's definitely fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to play another for our Friday show, which is geared towards young professionals in Parks and Recreation. And so when I say young professionals, it starts with the high school kids that can work summer camps. A lot of the first-time jobs are in Parks and Rec, whether you're a lifeguard, a concession stand worker, a referee, something like that. But then you've got college kids that are pursuing a degree. You've also got another group of young professionals. It's like their first year or so, and they're just trying to get their bearing straight on what is Parks and Rec because it's so overwhelming in those first few years. But then also, if you have an internship program out there, you're listening to the show, and it's an internship program that you're proud of, definitely reach out to me. We'd love to highlight what you're doing. But specifically, I'd like you to talk about after I play this, about the different career paths, which you're one of them,
Yep.
that you find in Parks and Rec. So we'll play this and come right back.
The future of parks and recreation is here, and it starts with you. Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show, where we bring you the latest insights, trends, and conversations shaping the world of parks and recreation. Today, we're diving into something that's shaping the future of our industry, Young Professional Networks, or YPN. If you love your job and love the parks and recreation community and are looking to connect with the next generation of leaders, this episode is for you. YPN is where driven, passionate professionals come together to connect, grow, and make a real impact. It's not just about networking, it's about building the future of our communities. Why join YPN? Career growth and mentorship. Learn from the best in the industry. Innovative ideas and collaboration. Be part of the next big movement. Leadership development. Take charge, make decisions, and create change. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your career to the next level, YPN is your gateway to success. From exclusive networking opportunities to cutting-edge industry insights, this is where you build your legacy. Because the future of parks and recreation starts with you.
All right. So, Tyler, imagine you've got a classroom of high school and college kids yet undecided. What's your message to them as why they should pursue a career path in Parks and Recreation?
I wouldn't say a word. I would actually just show them the video you just posted.
Yeah.
Man, that was really good. That's a great question. I would say every leader that I've had the privilege of working for and that I've looked up to has been in their shoes. They've been out of college, barely afford to go out to eat, pay your bills, struggling, tired. But they're where they are today because of their work ethic, because of their commitment. So what I would say, I use that as my inspiration to be able to go out and make a difference in the community. When I was at U of H and was in the sports management program, I really wasn't thinking about parks and recreation at the time. I was thinking, obviously, pro sports and things like that. But throughout the career, it ended up in parks and recreation. And I would not be sitting with you today if it weren't for that. It taught me so much. I think of, sport management, obviously in college, those types of programs. That's team management. That's being able to work with others from different backgrounds, from different beliefs, from different cultures, putting your differences aside to make sure that at the end of the day that your customers, your guests, your members, whoever they may be, will have the utmost experience. Parks and Recreation specifically, I was very blessed, obviously worked with the Woodlands under Chris Nunes. We focused on people, and the same thing that we do that about Bluejack. People make the place. People can recreate all over the world and all over the rec centers, but they continue coming back because of the experiences that they have with you. Mm-hmm. And that is that always drove me and what motivated me. Because I would see all types of kiddos coming in, to specifically our summer camps. And being able to make a difference and serve and lead. Wow. That's what Parks and Recreation is. It's, think about just all the other aspects of business, teamwork, capital projects, budgeting, public policy, working with elected officials. You really have to wear my college professor at U of H always said, you got to wear rounded hats. You got to be well-rounded. You got to be able to catch anything that comes at you. I think that's the difference between leaders and managers. Managers are by the book, leaders are by the people. So, that's what I would say, right? It's if you want an opportunity to lead and serve and make a difference, I'm not saying you can't do that anywhere else, but in Parks and Recreation, you have the firsthand opportunity to do so. And even going to Bluejack, being able to give these kiddos and these families an experience that they can't see anywhere else. Man, that's what it gets me going. It gets me excited. And I think, I always kind of said Parks and Recreation are the heartbeat of the community. It pushes the blood to the community, whether it's parks, whether it's aquatics, whether it's leagues, whether it's, workouts, fitness areas. You have it all, and you have it in your community. So that's special.
Yeah, what a great soundbite, Chris. When we edit this, Chris is one of our video editors, is going to be working on this program after post-production. But that was such a good soundbite as a testimony, so I appreciate that. I like when you said in Parks and Rec you have the opportunity, which means it's not many times it's not forced on you. It's like if you want this, you have the opportunity to lead, serve, and make a difference. I love those three. Maybe speak a little bit about each of those. What do you mean by lead? What do you mean by serve? And what differences are you seeing? If you can give a little more detail around those three.
I think serve and leadership, they go hand in hand. I'm never going to ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do. Our president, general manager, Brett Schoenfield, as I mentioned earlier, he's been around some of the most amazing hotels, resorts. I've seen that man do to-go orders. I've seen that man wipe off tables. Man, as an employee, as someone who, strives to be someone like that, I want to be like that. I want to be able to walk hand in hand with my employee, no matter the situation, no matter the time, and knowing that I will always be there with you. I'm not your boss. I'm not your supervisor. I work with you. And that's something that I've always held near and dear to my heart. Having an open door policy, in today's, with all the stuff going around in the world, sometimes it's very difficult to bring, to come to work fully prepared. You have your personal life and things of that nature. And what better way to distract all of that than to make a difference in someone's life, to make a difference in someone's day? And it's just so special. So I think going back to servant leadership, it's who I am. Kind of the Stephen Covey's 7 successful habits of highly successful people. Seek first to understand before being understood. The golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah,
it's what I live by. That's what I go to work for. This is not about pride. It's about purpose. And our purpose is to serve the people on a day in and day out basis.
I love that, having that purpose, because, at least when you start, Parks and Rec is not known for paying the highest.
Nope.
But I mean, when you get a nice sized paycheck from maybe something outside of Parks and Rec, you better hope that that's enough, because that's all you get to do your job. There really isn't a lot of purpose-driven companies out there. Not really seeing a huge impact in your community. You're not shaping, your community's lives, the young kids' lives. But in Parks and Rec, or at least you might start doing that after retirement, when you're old and your best years are spent, then you can start making a difference. But in Parks and Rec, on day one, you're shaping your community, and that is going to be a big paycheck that you don't notice at first, but makes work valuable to you. It's almost like your daily work is now more valuable.
How much value do you put on changing someone's life?
Yeah.
That's again, you hit it spot on, Craig. Parks and Recreation, an entry-level professional, whether you're a recreation assistant, you're a specialist, you're a coordinator, you're a programmer, you're a change maker, you're a difference maker. You provide something to the community that is so invaluable. That was one of the things I always kind of thought, man, I don't really understand that when I first got to the Woodlands. But, basically, of all the different areas of the Woodlands, there was a park. I can't remember whether it was a 5-minute walk or a 10-minute walk from every single residence in the Woodlands.
Wow. There
was a park that close. What better way to bring joy, to bring laughter, to bring sunshine? And that's what I would say is, putting value on changing someone's life. And I would not, I've said it 3 or 4 times now, I'll say it again, I would not be sitting where I am today if it would not been for the foundation I learned at the University of Houston, at the, director of sports at the Methodist Church, or at the Woodlands Township Parks and Recreation Department, because each specific situation taught me and prepared me, hopefully, to be the leader that I am today. I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
I don't want to be another name in the crowd. Uh, but I want you, when you think about the time that we had together or you came and interacted with our program, it's something that you remember and you cherish and you value. That's Parks and Recreation to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as careers that are gonna be resilient in this, digitized world where AI and robotics are seeming like they're gonna consume every possible job you can think of, um, I think the industries that are gonna be most resilient to that, this rapid change that's coming to the labor pools and even the white collar jobs are industries that focus on quality of life, and I think
Sure.
that's why you're seeing an explosion in stuff like coffee houses and yoga studios, and as far as a massive industry that has been focused on quality of life really since day one is the Parks and Rec. So maybe
Yep.
if you could speak a little bit about how y'all cater, and this really goes into Bluejack National as well, about
Sure.
really focusing on the quality of life.
Uh, our president always says, what's one thing, people can't have back? It's their time.
Mhm.
So uh, when they're in your midst and when you have the opportunity to mold, shape, do it. It has just been so rewarding, for me. And, that's something I kind of always, I think when you go through these Parks and Recreation programs, I kind of think I could be the example of that is I went from a church recreation department
Mhm.
to a city or excuse me, township led Parks and Recreation department to now kind of a resort hospitality, different types of, parks and recreation environment. Find your niche,
Mhm.
find where you want to grow. It doesn't always have to be kind of city led. There's other different avenues there as well. Um, just find your niche, find what you're good at. And I keep going back to listening. Really listen to yourself, listen to the others, listen to those mentors. And that's one of the things that I think the NRPA and TRAPS, and even specifically at Bluejack, you have these mentorship opportunities and these networking opportunities. Whether you're another club or you're another city, hey, what are you experiencing? What are you thinking? Hey, my summer camp numbers are this, or what can we add that would make um, our community grow?
Mhm.
Ask questions, listen. That was kind of the other thing is, um, I'm never going to take myself too seriously to not ask, a silly question, because a silly question obviously sometimes leads to the best answers.
Mhm.
So just being able to be open and understanding and learning, I think someone, coming into the Parks and Recreation background, it doesn't matter if you're a business major or you're an economics major or whatever, um, coming into Parks and Recreation, you have the opportunity to serve, you have the opportunity to lead, and you have the opportunity to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and really, you also have a great opportunity to grow personally. I can't think of an industry that's better equipped to just grow new people to where they can, gain high levels of expertise in all sorts of disciplines and then find themselves and maybe, like you said, then find their niche and then maybe find something outside of Parks and Rec. But Parks and Rec really does a good job of preparing you for those maybe 5 or 10 years when you're first entering the workforce to now you leave that with massive amount of skills and being able to handle stuff blowing up in your face every day before lunch and dealing with it.
I can tell you, I think you're spot on, Craig. It's obviously coming from the church background where we did mostly leagues, youth
Mhm.
leagues,
Yeah.
and then going to the township where you could be running a soccer program or you could be building these houses for haunted trails. During Halloween, that's not something that I really thought that I was going to be doing. But how about that? That building of that little haunted house, that little haunted trail that we did every October, 5, 6, 7,000 people coming through your doors that would not necessarily come through on a given basis. Think about the lives that you can touch, which again, you got to be well rounded. Don't take anything personally. Yeah, you're going to have some difficult days, but that was why we always never really referred to them as weaknesses, because we
Mhm.
called them challenges, because challenges are meant to be overcome.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if it's haunted house, or if it doesn't matter if it's a youth league, or if it doesn't matter if it's a Spanish class, a dance class, a hip hop class, whatever.
Mhm.
Put the focus on serving the people, and that'll take
Yeah.
you a long way.
Yeah, you really do need those challenges. I had a business coach that would always tell me that they would say, Miss Cammy would say, "Craig, you need the mission more than the mission needs you, because it's that mission that molds you, and you have to find ways and create find new strengths and build new strengths that if you didn't have this obstacle, challenge, adversity in front of you, then what would be the need to invent your way out of this?" And so, are there any things that that maybe speak about um, what type of man did you become in the process of having to overcome all these obstacles?
Uh, ooh, man, you're hitting hard today.
Yeah.
um, I want to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
I want everyone from our housekeeping team to our chefs in our kitchen, to our member experience manager, to our members, to our recreation manager, our director of recreation, whoever that comes in contact with me is better for it. I want to
Mm.
be able to brighten someone's day. I want to be able to understand people. I want to take time to listen to them. Now, am I perfect at this all the time? Absolutely not. I think my team would be able to tell you that. I think it's okay to laugh in the workplace. I think it's okay to relax in the workplace. I think it's okay to have fun. And that's one of the things that I love about Bluejack is we have fun in what we do. We take
Yeah.
pride in what we do. And it's something different every day. And, the people that we touch and, coming in from all over the world to play golf in our city, in our community, at our course is special. It's something that we take a lot of pride in. Never let an obstacle keep you down. One of my favorite quotes is when God sent David to be king, he didn't give him a crown, he gave him Goliath.
Yes.
Think about the obstacles, that you overcome and that you learn from. And you take those and you learn from them. And, what type of man am I? Again, I just want to be a better husband, a better father, a better leader, a better servant each and every day. And I want to be the best version of myself each and every day to Bluejack. And I think that goes for all of our team members. And that's why it takes so much pride in wearing that acorn every single day and going to work with them every single day.
Yeah.
They make me better.
Mm.
Point blank.
Now, are there any, so let's say you're in Parks and Recreation, you've been here for, 5-10 years. What do these opportunities look like? Or is it maybe your job just to be open to what's out there, like what Bluejack National offered you? And what does that transition look like out of the public sector and into the private sector?
Yeah, it was unique. Going in, from the Woodlands Township to Bluejack, I think that's one of the cool things about recreation. It's ever changing. You got to understand the trends. You have to understand the fads, the things that worked in the Woodlands. They may not work at Bluejack. So to be able to kind of, take a punch like that and realize, okay, we're going to take a step back. We're going to evaluate the team. And that was kind of my focus is how can I help the team and giving them leadership opportunities, giving them chances to lead a program, budget for a program, even do kind of an after action. What would you do differently? Really kind of seeing the full effects of it and help training them up to be, hey, if you ever want to go work in Parks and Recreation, you've got the tools to do it. But yeah, that was a challenge, right? It's you've been in an organization 7, 8, 10 years, and you've been in a specific setting. My office from the church from the Woodlands Township was about a mile apart. And even kind of branching out, even though it's 30, 40 minutes difference, it's a different setting. And, being able to realize is what works for some may not work for all. And you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to adapt, and you have to be able to align. I think that's the key word is align with your team, understand your team. And I'm telling you, it's like fine tuning a race car. You fine tune it, great, and then you send it out to run. And more times than not, you're going to come back successful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important to have that, real world experience where you're trying it out in the field, not just all in theory. You really get to test. Okay. So we have a little tradition that we started, gosh, it's been a while now, where the previous guest left a question for you, and then you get to leave a question for the next victim tomorrow. So this was from Kim Bybee and Richard over in Carrollton, Texas. And then I actually have another question I'd like to ask as well.
Okay.
So their two questions are, how do you see employee engagement and create a positive culture in your department? And the other question is, if you had a superpower, what would it be and how would you use it in your job?
I think the first question is, engagement. It starts with the culture. So I know in our organization, we have 6 different culture beliefs. Be dependable, integrity first, value people, speak up, empowerment. And then the last one, be remarkable. Go out and be remarkable today. You want to talk about something that drives us as a team? The culture drives us as a team. And this is just not a, hey, here's the culture. Here's something that we can put on the wall. It's a wall decoration. No,
Mm.
sir. This is something that we live by. Our president, general managers, hey, what's the culture belief of the day? Integrity first. Value people. Being able to repeat that and understand that, and have the president, general manager to your security team be able to understand that and live that on a day in and day out basis. You talk about powerful. Wow.
Mm.
That's something that, that always kind of drives me. And I think that produces engagement. And I also think that helps increase efficiency.
Mm.
Because when, again, your people are your frontline representations of the organization, period. If you don't trust them, why are they there?
Mm.
I want them to engage with the member, engage with the guest. And that's kind of one thing that I always say in an interview is, you're not going to be allowed on this team if I don't trust you. Because
Right.
I want you at any given moment to be able to answer a question, whether it's a member or a guest, and know that I absolutely trust you to make the best decision possible for Bluejack. That's how I live. That's how I want to lead.
Yeah.
And in terms of superpower, oh gosh, I absolutely hate flying. So maybe the fact that I could just kind of go to Detroit tomorrow instead of have to get on an airplane. Look, it's kind of sound cliche. I think it's a superpower to be a successful servant leader.
Yeah.
It's, the putting the needs of others before your own is very hard.
Yeah.
And being able to go ask a question to a team member and say, hey, what do you think? To get their feedback, get their info. They see it every day. Like I said, they're the frontline representation of the team. I think that would be my superpowers, hopefully be able to understand people a little bit better, listen a little better, treat people a little bit better, and ultimately, be the leader that I would want to be. Sorry for the professional answer, but that's what I would say.
Yeah. No, that reminds me of that quote by Dr. Michael Sanger. I say it's a quote. It was he often refers to, the sun that is just constantly giving. It never takes anything from the earth. It just
Yep.
like shines constantly, and it just
Yep.
bathes the earth, and it creates life. And I think human species are kind of the same way, is that if we spend our life taking, I don't know if that's what we're designed for. We're really made to just give. And I think that's when we shine the best.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree.
All right. So what question you want to leave for our next guest? Don't go easy on them.
Oh gosh. My team makes fun of me because I like to throw a dad joke every time, every now and then. So I guess, why do we drive on parkways but park on driveways?
Why do we drive
On
on
parkways
parkways?
but park on driveways.
I love it. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been a real special treat to see your career and how it's gone from, like you said, church to, Parks and Rec with Chris Nunes, and then here at, Bluejack. It's you've got a great career, and really a great example that we're setting for all the youth to kind of follow in your footsteps.
Well, I don't know about that, but again, props to you and your team. I think it's so great to be able to highlight, these parks and recreation professionals who serve on a day in and day out basis. And the fact that my name's alongside with them, I'll take that. That means a lot to me. So,
well, we're going to do our best to keep doing the same thing, and highlighting these people it's an honor, and it really is. We're having a great time doing it. So we're going to keep going.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Well, have an awesome week, and thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate you and your team.
Yep. Take care, Tyler. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was another great leadership series show with Tyler Little. He was previously under the legend Dr. Chris Nunes over at the Woodlands. A friend of mine as well. I need to get him on the show. Every time we see each other, we talk about him coming on the show, and I've yet to nail it down. He's such a busy guy, but just contributing so much to this industry for so long, and is just a monster when it comes to teaching and sharing the wisdom that he's found in Parks and Rec with everybody. Pretty much anyone that will listen to him, he is sharing wisdom. And so love that guy and really appreciate it. And this is one of his pupils that I guess came up under him and now is doing great work over at Bluejack National. So look up Bluejack National. It's a great place. It's gorgeous. One of the best facilities, really. I would probably put them up there in world class. I think you can officially say they're a world class facility, and serving the really Houston area, and really the national area, or international area, they have a lot of people that come from all over to play there. So anyway, love having Tyler on the show. Another great example to all those young professionals of what can be done in Parks and Recreation, and the journey that you can find yourself on when you just sign up for Parks and Rec, and next thing you know, you're helping to run one of the greatest facilities in the world. All right, so again, this is Craig LeBlanc, the doorman with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I think we're approaching 50 one-hour shows a month that we're cranking out just on Parks and Rec, different content, whether it's youth sports, young professionals, facilities maintenance, or leaders in Parks and Rec. We also have a show that we're putting together monthly for Breck Park, also Henry County, Georgia, called the Rec Room. And I think we're going to have a Wednesday show at 1:30 every Wednesday. But we're going to have, like first Wednesday, second Wednesday, third Wednesday, fourth Wednesday, but they'll each be their own little podcast focusing on different topics. So be looking out for that. We also have our newsletter, which just our third one went out. We're finally starting to understand the software that distributes it. And so if you've gotten an email from us with our newsletter, it's probably because we're asking you to just help critique it before we really start blasting it out to our massive network of Parks and Rec professionals. We're just trying to maybe spend about a month or so and behind the kind of in the kitchen, really still cooking it and putting it together. But if you have an article that you've written for Parks and Recreation, we'd love to highlight that article as we start to really build this out. I think it's like a 20-page newsletter, but that's going to grow up into, probably a 50-page newsletter before it's all said and done. But appreciate all the hard work that Kathleen's doing on that. We have Kathleen, Hannah, Chris. Thank y'all so much for all the design work and editing that y'all do. Y'all are keeping us looking pretty out there. And so appreciate you helping us to just craft a really good message and represent this industry of Parks and Recreation well. All right, so I will see y'all here tomorrow at 9:30 for the maintenance show. 10:30 Eastern. Sorry, I'm in Central over here in Louisiana. But we have a Monday through Thursday show on facilities maintenance, followed by this show, which is the Leaders in Parks and Rec. And then don't forget, on Thursday, we have Aaron Locke that does a great show on youth sports. And then, of course, Friday, we have our Young Professionals Network show. So a lot of stuff going on in the Daily Parks and Rec show. Appreciate all the love and support. And I'll see y'all here tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we... Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.